Hello and welcome. So, today we're diving into a feeling that's become just incredibly common in our always on world. It's that sudden, overwhelming urge to just log off. I mean, completely. If you've ever felt it, you know it's way more than just a bad mood, right? It's this powerful pull to vanish from the digital world. And we're about to unpack the fascinating psychology behind why that is.
I mean, really think about it. One day, you're liking, commenting, posting, you're part of the conversation. And the next, the apps are gone. You haven't checked a single notification in weeks, maybe even months. To the outside world, it probably looks like you've fallen off the face of the earth. But what's really going on inside your head?
You know, when someone suddenly logs off for good, it's so easy to label them. We think they're flaky or rude, or maybe even a little unstable. But what if those assumptions are completely wrong? The psychology suggests that what we're actually seeing isn't a sign of instability at all, but the complete opposite. It's often a necessary reset, a powerful defense mechanism, and maybe even a sign of some profound personal growth. So, to really get to the bottom of this, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to talk about psychological overload, explore something called a boundary awakening, discuss what it means to reset your digital self, and finally, touch on the huge shift toward finding validation from within.
Okay, let's start with the biggest, most common reason of all, pure and simple overload. Sometimes disappearing isn't so much an active choice as it is an instinctual reaction. It's basically your brain hitting the emergency mute button just to protect itself.
So, what is psychological overload? Well, it's that state where your brain just can't process anymore. No more information, no more emotional demands from other people, no more social pressure from that little screen in your hand. It just goes into a protective mode. And what's the quickest way to find safety? You guessed it, cut off the source of all that noise.
And this overload gets triggered by a few key things. First, there's the endless digital noise just from scrolling your feed. Then there's the exhaustion that comes from being the unofficial emotional support system for all your friends online. And, for really observant people, it's especially draining. You start noticing the fakeness, the inconsistencies in how people act, and your brain is just constantly running these simulations, trying to figure it all out. Eventually, it just needs a break.
And this really gets to the heart of it. From the outside, someone disappearing might look like drama, but on the inside, it feels like pure, unadulterated relief. This isn't about making some big statement. It's just about creating the space your nervous system is screaming for to finally find some quiet.
All right, so let's move on to our next idea because this builds on the last one. That feeling of overload often leads to something really powerful, what we can call a boundary awakening. This is where you shift from just reacting to the noise to proactively reclaiming your own peace.
Now, a boundary awakening, it definitely feels like a breaking point because, well, it is, but it's a healthy one. It's that moment you realize you've been tolerating way too much disrespect, too many demands on your time, too much emotional labor, and you just decide, suddenly and firmly, that you are done. The path is almost always the same, For years, maybe you allow people access, you ignore red flags, you just give your energy away like it's endless, and then you hit a limit. The change is often super abrupt, because instead of trying to slowly tweak things, you reclaim your peace by removing access entirely. You just shut the door.
And ultimately, it all comes down to this really powerful realization. Protecting your own mental well-being is way more valuable than maintaining relationships or social obligations that just consistently drain you. It's about choosing your peace over their performance.
Now, here's another fascinating reason for disappearing, and this one is all about identity. What happens when the person you are online just no longer reflects the person you are in real life? Well, you might initiate a full-on identity reset. Psychologists actually have a term for this: identity reconstruction. It often happens after big life changes, or a period of intense personal growth, or even after a trauma. You're evolving, and you need space away from your old digital skin to figure out who this new version of you really is. Sooner or later, you hit this critical moment of awareness. That online persona you've so carefully built, it starts to feel less like you and more like a performance of someone you used to be. And when that gap between your authentic self and your digital self gets too wide, logging off feels like the only way to close it. This marks a huge shift in your priorities. Instead of feeling that constant pressure to turn every experience into content for an audience, you just want to live the experience for yourself. The need to document your life gets replaced by the simple, beautiful desire to just be present in it.
And finally, let's talk about validation. Disappearing is often a really powerful sign that you've stopped looking for approval from the outside world, and you've started finding it within yourself.
Think about it. Social media is basically built entirely on a system of external validation. Likes, comments, public applause. But when you start to cultivate a stable internal sense of self-worth, you just don't need that anymore. Suddenly, privacy feels way more valuable than attention, and authenticity feels a whole lot better than audience approval.
This isn't just about feelings either. It's about power. Social media runs on these invisible rules, right? You must reply. You must post. You must stay relevant. Well, logging off is an act of breaking those rules. It's about reclaiming your autonomy and consciously deciding where your limited energy is actually best spent. So if any of this sounds even remotely familiar to you, I want you to remember this. You are not weird. You are not flaky. And you are not broken for needing to go dark sometimes. You are simply protecting your mind in a world that literally never stops talking. And that is not weakness. That is a huge sign of strength.
And that really just leaves us with this final question. As we all try to navigate this digital world, we face this choice every single day. Understanding the psychology behind it is the first step toward making a conscious choice that actually serves you. So, what will you prioritize? Thanks for joining me today.